And we're live.
That's live. Okay. Sorry for anybody who joined us or is joining us now. We had some technical issues. It was all me. Land Monkey, of course, being the computer genius he is, had everything ready to go. But for some reason, some of my equipment decided, no, I don't want to connect to the internet tonight.
Well, and before you go on with any more apologies, I want to share with the ladies and gentlemen who listen to our podcast and watch the broadcast here that you are, sir, an epic marathoner of videos and podcasts. I have experienced a day in the life, and week to week, that's impressive that you are able to do that. So you know what? When you get a night where there's some glitches, it's going to happen.
That's true. I always get some glitches. But yeah, I pretty much tell my family, hey, I'm going down to the basement for the evening. See you tomorrow morning. I'm going down to my mother's basement. No.
To print out pictures of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Ooh. I want gifts of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
We just can't say it.
No, isn't that a Weird Al?
It is.
Yeah. But I can't remember what song.
It's all about the Pentiums, baby.
Pentiums. Yes, that's it. The Pentiums. That was before the Googles.
Yes. That predates the Googles.
Okay. I am ready to go.
You are launching the show tonight, so you go and I will follow your lead, sir.
Okay. I took out a monitor so I can put the laptop over there. So it's hard to operate with just one screen. I feel so limited.
For anybody who hasn't done this before, it is actually very difficult to operate with just one screen.
Okay. So here we go. Start recording and music. Oh, here we are. It's Thursday night. That means it's time for Caching in the Northwest. It's the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the Great Pacific Northwest. We'll talk about caches and cachers unique to this little corner of the country. So grab a latte and a muffin with your friend. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
It is time to go caching in the Northwest, and I don't feel complete tonight, and the reason for that is that Wits End is not feeling well tonight. So since we cannot connect with him, let's talk about connecting with other cachers.
Now, whoa there, big fella. Before you get too far, we got one more time here to remind our listeners that we are doing a logo contest for Caching in the Northwest. We need a new logo to go with the new website. Everything's new, it's fresh, it's clean. So you've got time to get those entries into us by midnight, July 31st. That's just about a month before my birthday, so you could count this as your birthday gift to me if you get it in time. If not, well, then you don't. It's okay. Get that in midnight, July 31st to feedback@cachingNW.com. Now, also, we've had some issues with our RSS feed in the last couple of weeks. If you're having any issues, unsubscribe, resubscribe to the iTunes feed, and you're going to be fine. Stitcher Radio's caught up with us. iTunes have caught up with us. And anywhere else we put our feed out there, we should be good. So just make sure if you're not getting the episodes on a weekly basis, you do that. So,
great advice.
What are we talking about tonight?
So tonight we are talking about connecting and meeting with local cachers. So this could be an event in your hometown or wherever you may be traveling.
That's a good point you bring up there, Mr. Land Monkey. Hosting an event to meet cachers while traveling, that's a great idea, and I think not only did you think of it, you did it.
I'm pretty crazy that way.
Yes, yes, you are.
Yeah, us land monkeys, we like the idea of a breakfast event. We've tried to start to make it a little bit of a habit when we go caching somewhere to, um, and we started this because we've seen other cachers do it, and I thought, what a neat idea. We're going to steal it. So
Co-opt, I think, is the word you're looking for.
co-opt that idea. Um, so you have to eat anyways, and it's a great launch into your geocaching day. And what a great way to meet some cachers local to the area that you're heading to.
That's a really good idea. I was so impressed that you hosted, you planned and hosted your own event when you came to my town. I really felt like a poor host at that point when I realized, oh, you know what? He did it all himself. I should have done something to help him, but alas, I did not. So I was thinking, that's a really good idea. That allows you to meet the local cachers in an area you're unfamiliar with. So during that event, you had an opportunity to say, hey, this is where we're going. These are the caches we hope to hit. Are there any that I actually have to get, absolutely have to get while I'm down that way? And you can get that advice from those local cachers.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's one thing we know about geocachers. They are always very happy to give you all kinds of advice and share their experiences. And sometimes you need to make sure you box the time on your events because you can just end up talking all day.
That's true, and you never get out caching, is it?
That's great. But I mean, that's the kind of interaction that not only new cachers need, but also veteran cachers.
Mm-hmm.
One thing to keep in mind when creating an event is that due to the rules around events, it cannot be for the specific purpose of finding a cache or caches. Reviewers likely won't publish an event if that's how you're describing the purpose of the event.
Well, that's exactly correct. We have a couple of local events that are on a regularly scheduled basis, and I use that time to connect with groups of cachers to establish a place and time to meet for for caches that require a bit more of a hike. For instance, we did one a little while ago that was 4 miles in, 4 miles out, which that's several kilometers, but I'm not exactly sure what. I'm gonna say 8.5.
Yeah, not quite that, but
okay,
pretty good.
17.5, and so it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking.
You're doing the weight.
Yes,
conversion.
exactly. I was thinking 2.2, and that's not it. It's 1.6.
Yeah.
Ish. Anyway, wrong conversion in my head. See, I can't do math in my head. It hurts.
Which explains. Sorry, I was to say which explains why when we were previously on the Geo Gearheads and we were talking about satellite distance into space, and you gave a number in kilometers, and I thought, okay, well that's not even remotely close, but still the original number in miles was still wrong. So,
no, it was exact because I Googled it.
Was it? Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I it was 12,500 miles, and I'm thinking, oh, I can't do that math. not within 4 seconds. So I Googled it, and I trust the Googles.
Well, yeah. So the original number in miles was still there was something funny about that number, but
yeah, exactly. That's over 20,000 kilometers. I'll just say that 20,116. See, I can say that number.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm not that old yet.
Right. But
so
we
anyway,
digress.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where I like to meet up with cachers and find out what they're doing and see, hey, can I tag along with you? Because this is either one of those highly favorited caches that everybody's got to go find, or something that, it's nice to hike with a group. Yes, you can go out there alone, but I wouldn't suggest doing a 4-mile one-way hike by yourself. Just saying.
Absolutely. Now, we've talked about breakfast events to get your geocaching day going, and we've talked about events where you can share some intelligence and do a little planning with other geocachers. There's many different types of events. And I think what we've been discussing is what normally would be referred to as the standard meet and greet style events. In addition, though, there's also flash mob events, which theoretically are supposed to take 15 minutes and then everyone disperse, but geocachers being a very social bunch, usually those end up being meet and greet events that start with a flash mob. Um,
And go all day.
and go all day. Additionally, there's also CETO events, or if you're Sunny from Podcacher, it's a Katow event.
How does he come up with that?
I don't
Katow.
Katow. I just like saying it.
It's a very action word, isn't it?
It is. But that stands for CITO, and that stands for cash in and trash out. And that's a type of event where the idea is to perform a group activity, such as cleaning up a park or planting trees, and you do this while socializing. If you haven't been to a CETO event, keep your eyes open for that in your area. They're a lot of fun, and you also will get a unique icon type from that.
That's right. And, if you're looking for 10, 11 icons in a day, a CETO is one of the ways you can accomplish that.
It is indeed.
So, yeah, that's a CETO event is always good. I did one that was not cleaning up the park from trash, but removing an invasive species of ivy. I hadn't seen that one before. Now, I also did that one on purpose because my daughter and Wits End son, which are in the same grade, needed to do a community service for school. And I was like, well, I can get her grade for this, and I can do a CETO, and I can do geocaching all at the same time. It's a triple win.
Everybody wins.
So, yeah, consider CETOs as a community service event. And
Excellent.
It works.
Excellent. So, Bad Cop, how about when many cachers come together for a larger sized event? What do we have there, Bad Cop?
Well, Land Monkey, if you can somehow get 500 signatures onto a logbook, that's what's considered a mega event. And should you be able to squeeze 5,000 of those little John Henrys there, that's a giga event.
And as we've discussed in the past, not quite accurate in mathematical parlance, but still very cool.
Exactly. Now, one of the big events coming up is the annual geocaching.com block party. You can head over to geocachingblockparty.com, or, since we're all geocachers, GC4CPG0. The 4CPG0 sounds like a droid from Star Wars from me for some reason. I just can't get that one out of my head. Now, the block party is not just a single event. It's a whole weekend of events smack dab in the middle of August. Starting with Friday the 15th, you have the Geocaching International Film Festival, which in itself is a lot of fun. I don't know if you saw it at all last year, but this year it's going to be on its own day, which I think is nice. That sets it aside. That gives it a little more credence, a little more importance, a little more gravitas. Do you see how I did that?
Yeah.
Anyway.
That was very classy, almost like an international.
Exactly. And then you have the block party on Saturday. And then Sunday, you're not done yet. You've got the Washington State Geocaching Association's Going Ape mega event. And that's a lot of fun. You get to ride through that 2.25 mile tunnel. And that's on Sunday the 17th. Or walk through, however you want to go through it.
So that's fantastic. And I agree. I think it's really great that they've moved the Geocaching International Film Festival to the Friday night in advance of the rest of the activities. It really does just really fill out that weekend. But what that also means is you really need to plan your time for getting there. And us Land Monkeys were disappointed that we will be missing the block party weekend this year, but we plan to be back for next year. One of the highlights of that weekend for us Land Monkeys this past year, was the Geocaching International Film Festival, or GIF, or GIF, depending on your personal pronunciation choice, event. And that can be found, if you want more information on that, at the same URL we heard earlier, www.geocachingblockparty.com GCC/GIFF. GC code is GC51KH2, which doesn't sound like a droid to me, but
It doesn't, yeah.
And this year there will be films shown from around the world on a 40-foot screen in Gasworks Park, which is a much nicer area than it sounds like.
There's no odor associated with Gasworks Park. I just want to say that. It's just an awkward name. If you've ever been to Gasworks Park, you look at it and go, well, obviously, that's why.
Yes.
But it's an iconic Seattle location.
It is, and it's beautiful.
Yes. It's a great place to watch the 4th of July fireworks. And then just, stay a month and a little more for the Geocaching International Film Festival. It's obvious.
Reserve your seats because they'll go fast.
Exactly. Now, these mega events are not as intimate as a get-together in a coffee shop, but, they do introduce you to the wider world of geocaching.
And on the topic of the wide world, or perhaps the World Wide Web.
Ooh, good one.
Thank you. I got a little bit of practice on my transitions and segues earlier this evening. Many geocachers will make use of social media to converse with, to learn from, and to share with other geocachers. Bad Cop, which social media channels do you use for geocaching topics?
Well, there are so many. We look at Google Plus circles, Facebook groups, even hashtags on Twitter are a good place to start. I have to admit, I'm a Google Plus kind of guy. I like just the way it works better. However, I'm a member of several Facebook geocaching groups as well. So, and while we're talking about this, let's not forget the genesis of geocaching groups, the official geocaching forums, where there you can find cachers in your areas, or maybe those who want to help you solve puzzles or even plan that genius hide you've got in your mind.
Excellent. Oh, and something that I learned early on in my young geocaching career is if you want help solving puzzles on any forums, not just geocaching.com, but any forums, really, really important and courteous to the puzzle cache owner that you don't discuss the actual solution to the puzzle online. That is an offline conversation.
Very good. That's a good point. I hadn't even considered that. Yeah, I've been in a couple of puzzle solving groups, and we've did it all by email, so it would be a little more private. But I hadn't even considered that. Yeah, on Facebook, Google Plus, even the forums, you could get a little too verbose and spoil that for someone else.
Absolutely, and that's what you've shared here is all great advice, and I think we certainly see that. To your point, Google Plus and Twitter seem to really be the social media channels, in my experience, that drive the most geocaching content. Facebook's close in behind, but it really seems to be those two channels that get the most activity. For us in the Metro Vancouver area, we have a fairly active forum on mvgeocaching.com, MV standing for Metro Vancouver. We also have groups on Facebook and Google Plus. Not a lot happens on the Facebook group. The Google Plus group is picking up some momentum, but the forum seems to be where most of the activity happens. And many regions have the same kind of activity, and depending on the culture of that region, different social media channels will have different levels of activity. So take a look at all of them. You'll find what works best for you and what's happening in your area. Another great place to look for geocaching information, so maybe not quite as dynamic a connection, but certainly somewhere if you want to go and draw information out and learn, is YouTube. There's a growing number of vloggers, video bloggers, and sorry, had to.
Were there air quotes around that?
There were air quotes around video bloggers or vloggers. And certainly while the quality and the content may vary, those who have a fair number of episodes to their credit are usually doing something right.
That's true. Nick, can you give me an example of a vlogger on YouTube?
Who do I know who vlogs on YouTube? Well, probably the two most popular are the GC Doc and the geocaching vlogger. But as it happens, the Land Monkeys like to post up an episode or two or 50 as well. So, but how about podcasts as another medium for getting info and connecting with other cachers?
There you go. That's exactly right. So it's another way to get in contact with all those cachers out there. And I have to say thank you so much for posting the videos. I really like to see what you're up to.
Well, we're usually up to something at like 2,400 meters elevation or something crazy.
That was crazy. That was crazy when you're going past a sign that says, be very. What did it say? It was like
use extreme caution beyond this point.
There you go. Like, no, you have to rethink your whole plan when you see a sign like that. Speaking of the geocaching vlogger, I was privileged to share a tent with him last year at the block party, and he's a really nice guy. It was the most time I've spent with him, and saw him again at Geo Woodstock this year. So we're close buddies now.
Awesome.
But yeah, as for podcast, if you want to learn more of the technical aspects of geocaching, check out the Geo Gearheads. Now, as Land Monkey had hinted previously, we were privileged to have him on the Geo Gearheads this evening as we did a randomized episode, which we talk about a bunch of little topics. And we like to have guests on during those. And, of course, Land Monkey did a fabulous job, so thank you.
Thank you. It was an honor and a pleasure.
So, of course, those here in the Northwest and beyond, try caching in the Northwest. But if you're already listening to this, you already know about it.
Fair enough. But spread the word.
Exactly. Take an episode that you find helpful, useful, and burn it onto an audio CD, leave it in a cache. That's what I'm saying.
Or post a link on your favorite social media channel.
That would work even better. So go to Metro Vancouver Geocachers and make sure you post the link for this very show, since we mentioned them.
There you go. Well, I think that's a fair bit of content, and we want to go to bed. So
you are blunt sometimes, but that is exactly right.
So I think with that, we want to thank you, listeners, for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. And remember, you can be a part of the show. Call 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, correction, or question any time of the day or night. Of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Visit cachingnw.com for the show notes on this show or more about any other Caching in the Northwest podcast. Your support helps to keep quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click the PayPal button on the website. This show is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license, copyright 2014 by Inclusive Phenomena.
Good night, folks.
Good night.
Okay, stopped at 21 minutes. That's exactly the...
Right on.
What did I put for the show notes?
21.44. Or 222, yeah.
So we hit it.
We hit it. Hey, and for those who are hanging around or watching the video, I did want to share a question that I was hoping we would maybe squeeze into the Geo Gearhead show, but Daryl had a very, very full agenda for us. And so
those rundowns for the randomized shows just keep getting longer with the more and more questions, which is fabulous. Don't get me wrong, but it's hard to squeeze in a topic anymore.
I'll tell you, folks, by the time I saw the first draft of the script, which was about 3 weeks before the show aired, it was already overfull. Just the amount of content that comes is great. So we want to have the same problem with caching in the Northwest. But on that note, I want to apologize to Bright Blades because he did send me some feedback on Facebook that he was wondering if we would address. So I thought maybe we can address it here, if you're all right.
Perfect.
With that. And his question was, the 7 Souvenirs of August challenge. His question is it worth it? And are we going to do it?
Going to, I think if you go to the Geocaching International Film Festival and one of the events afterwards, you're going to hit 2 out of 3, right? Or no, you just get an event. My thinking is if you hit the block party, you could get all 7 souvenirs in one day.
If you haven't gotten some of the local caches around there, definitely. If you've gotten most of the caches, the permanent caches around there, it might be a bit more of a challenge, but you'll definitely, I would agree with you. If you haven't been down to the block party before and you're planning to go this year, you will get your 7 souvenirs within 1 to 2 days. Definitely. You'll have a mega event. You'll have events for events, so that doesn't really matter.
Exactly. I was thinking the same thing.
I think the only tricky bit would maybe be an earth cache, because you need either a CETO or an earth cache for the tree hugger or whatever the other one's called.
And with the new rules from geocaching.com, I don't think you can have a CETO event after an event or a mega event and claim that anymore.
Really? That's too bad.
I think that it overlaps or it's too close with the new event rules. So it can't be in the same spot, within, I don't know what the time frame is, within a certain time. So you may not be able to get that CETO right after the event, which I always thought was kind of nice.
Yeah, that's disappointing. But so be it. I'm sure there's very good reasons for the rules. I think my guess would be that they wanted CETOs to start to have
a life of their own.
Yeah, unique. Exactly.
Rather
exactly.
than just let's just tag one on because, we're here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was thinking, I wasn't prepared for this, so I don't have the 7 Souvenirs of August in front of me.
All right.
Let me run it through the Googles.
Yeah, run it through the Googles. I used to have it open here. I don't anymore. I'll pull it open as well. But as I recall, you need to find a traditional cache. You need to find, and I think that's called the Explorer. You need to have one called the Traveler, which you need a multi-cache for. Then you need the Puzzler or whatever it's called, and then that one you need a mystery cache.
Yeah, you're good. Mystery?
I'm going by memory here. I'm not even looking at anything.
To earn the Puzzler. Multi-cache to find the Sightseer.
Sightseer. Okay.
CETO or Earth Cache to find the Nature Lover. Attend an event, Mega or Giga to unlock the Socializer, which, we just talked about today, very social. Find a virtual cache, Where I Go, Letterbox Hybrid, or Webcam to earn the Collector.
Which, that's a tricky one.
It can be. A Where I Go, I think with the advent of the player for smartphones, Where I Go's have picked up again.
Valid point.
And, a Letterbox Hybrid, not as difficult as it used to be. The Webcam is probably the hardest one to come across, in my opinion.
Yep, I would agree with that.
Especially since I've done all the ones in my area, because
I
think they're cool. And again, with the smartphone, they're a whole lot easier than they used to be.
Exactly. When I was on my recent trip down to Florida, I was able to pick up a few webcam caches because I had the roaming data on the phone, and basically you just need to get yourself to ground zero and go, hey, look, it's me. Click.
Exactly. Click, save it, done.
The trickiest part was just figuring out how to do a screen cap on my BlackBerry.
Take a picture of it with your camera.
Yeah. No, I figured it out. There's a button combination you need to do.
But I remember doing webcams back in the old days of, talking to Wits End on the phone. Okay, I think I'm in position. You'd look at the web page before you go out. Okay, I got to stand by that pillar in the, and
as long as they didn't move the camera, well, yeah.
Exactly, and then you wait. Okay, we got to wait 3 minutes for it to update. Yeah, you're in the right spot. Oh, a bus went by.
Oh, I remember that story.
Oh, really? Come on. Or, getting a call of, hey, I'm in Leavenworth, Washington, from another friend. I think I'm in the, and I look at it and go, I think you're 3 pixels high. I can't make out who you are. Can you move closer?
That's cool. So
So
there's one in Leavenworth. Is it still there?
I think so.
Cool. That's very cool. So to answer, Bright Blades, answer your question, so that's what the 7 Souvenir of August challenge is. Is it worth it? Well, you know what? That's one of those your mileage may vary questions. Um, One of the interesting things that I found about this is that as opposed to last year where you got, if you went through it and you did it all, you got 31 more souvenirs on your page, which cool, but wow, that's a lot of content on that page. This year, as I understand it correctly, they're actually going to provide a souvenir case, which is its own unique page. And these 7 souvenirs will go in the case. So it will clean it up a little bit more as you collect these ones. So I thought that was really, really good. And it sounded like the folks at geocaching.com were listening to the feedback from last year in doing it this way. Go ahead.
I forgot to mention that if you collect all 7, you get the special 8th. Is that the case?
No, if you collect all 6, you get the special 7th.
Oh, did I miss that? Okay.
You've added one in, and the one that you added in is the invisible one. It's the I listened to caching in the Northwest.
That's right.
Sometime in the month of August.
Again, I should not be doing math this late at night. Not even 6 + 1 or 7 + 1.
No worries. I got your back, brother.
Thank you.
So yeah. So is it worth? I think it is worth it. I think it's easier than doing a 31-day caching streak. And I think that the approach is cool because it's really encouraging people to go out and find different types of geocaches and participate in different types of geocaching, at least within that which is hosted by geocaching.com. So I think it's worth it, would be my opinion.
I completely agree. Now, my either personality, my lifestyle, there's something in me that doesn't do streaks well. So the 31 days of caching in August just wasn't going to happen for me. So I really admire you, Land Monkey, that you can do this at 498 days. That's beyond amazing to me. I can't get the 8, let alone the 490. So, you have my admiration. You have my respect. But I thought that was good to say, hey, look, you can do this. There are enough geocaches. You can go geocaching every day and still not find them all. Okay, that was a good introduction or a good a refresher for some of us. Hey, don't give up on this. I like the idea of finding different types of geocaches this year, and I'm sure next year they'll do something different. But don't forget that there are challenge caches for the all-around cacher, or the well-rounded cacher, that you may be able to qualify for while doing the souvenir. So you get an extra bonus there. You might be able to go find an extra type of cache.
Very true. Very true. So again, to the follow-up, the second follow-up piece of Bright Blade's question, are you going to do it? So from a Land Monkey's perspective, yes, we are. And perhaps the 8th bonus achievement or souvenir that I would suggest Groundspeak consider is a bonus achievement for getting all 7 on August 1st.
Ooh. Yes, I want to do it, and I kind of thought just knock them all off in one day. So, you could do an event on August 1st. That would be easy. I was thinking, how are you going to do a mega event? That takes a little more planning.
Although it's a little late if you're going to do an event on August 1st. Someone already has to have set it up. You need
minimum
2 weeks.
2 weeks before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wet Coaster added in the chat room that he said, I thought there should be a tab for souvenirs, date, place, special, different things like that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Tab's kind of like a case, if you will.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting approach.
Mm-hmm.
Hadn't considered that. It makes a lot of sense.
So 7 souvenirs of August. Yes, I'm going to do it. August is my birthday month, and I take the entire month as my special birthday time. So one of the things I asked for a gift in August from my family is to drive me around to caches. So it's very interesting to be chauffeured. No, turn right here, drive. Okay, stay in the car. I'm going to go get this one, come right back. That, instead of having to, I'm always driving. So stop the car, get out, and, turn it off, lock it, go find the cache, come back.
So bad cop, I have to ask, how
Mhm.
far north are you planning on having them drive you this August?
I don't know how far north. I've got to. I don't have a valid passport at this point.
Ah,
I
that
just I
may
just
be a problem.
yeah. I let it expire, and I've got to go get it. And I figured, you know what? I could go get a what's the driver's license? An enhanced driver's license.
Enhanced driver's license, right?
It's the same as a passport for the Canadian and Mexican border. It doesn't work anywhere else,
Correct.
but since I'm so close to the Canadian border, I thought that's probably the easier way to go because I'll always have it with me.
Makes sense.
So yeah, I need to get that before I plan a trip up north. Otherwise, I can't get that far up north. Yes, Blaine seems like an interesting spot. Let's stop there.
Land monkey, can you come to Blaine?
Do anything? You want to drive just a little bit south? We'll meet up.
Awesome. So there you go. We've answered Brightblade's question. And again, Brightblade, I apologize I didn't make it into the Geo Gearhead show, but we gave you a special time here on Caching in the Northwest.
Exactly. So 7 souvenirs of August. Yes. Well, it depends if it's worth it to you. I think it is. You know, souvenirs didn't attract me when they first came out. I was like, who needs these? But as time has rolled on, it's like, oh, if I do that, I can do a souvenir. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that for a souvenir. Yeah. So I can understand. Wet Coaster is telling me how to get across the border without anybody seeing me. I'm not going to put that on the podcast.
Don't follow that advice.
The word bomb earlier.
Yeah,
Oh,
you're really, yeah, we're really getting in the bad books tonight. Another piece of feedback from Wet Coaster, though, that's maybe a little more constructive, is that he is planning also to do the 7 souvenirs of August, and may have in fact talked to his wife, who I understand has recently gotten herself her geocaching account going, into doing them as well. So they'll be caching together, and that sounds like a great family activity, going out and trying to find as many of those 6 different geocache types as you can.
Nice. So Mr. and Mrs. Wet Coaster, or should we just call them Mr. and Mrs. Coaster? Wet and otherwise. Wet and wild. There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see what Wet Coaster says about that.
We have Wet Coaster and Wild Coaster.
There you go.
Together we're just Wet and Wild.
Wet and Wild. We missed an earlier question from Wet Coaster, and great question. Is there a webcam cache in Vancouver? And there is, to the best of my knowledge, not a geocaching.com webcam cache in Vancouver. There is one in Victoria. There is one, although it's often disabled, in Parksville. And next to that, I think you're in Seattle. No, Bellingham, University of Western Washington University campus.
Right. I've done that one.
I think those are the 3. I'll use air quotes again, the 3 closest to Vancouver, because none of them are that close to Vancouver.
It says, up to you, Land Monkey. You've met her.
Yeah. Yeah, just not going to go there.
Smart man. Smart man. So, I've grown to like souvenirs. I'll say that, and I'll leave it at that. But I realize they're not everybody's cup of tea.
Yep, absolutely. Great. Well, I think with that, it's getting awfully close to 10:30,
It's
and
night time, as I say to my
it is
children.
night time. And we've gotten some great extra content on the show.
Mhm.
So thank you very much to Wet Coaster for the content and the feedback, and of course to Bright Blades for the great question.
Yes, thank you. And if you ever have any questions like that, please send them along. You can contact us on social media, send it to feedback@cachingnw.com, or call into our line, 253-693-TFTC. You'll have to get the webcam in Seattle. Well, I don't know. Is there one near headquarters? There has to be one there, right?
The closest one to headquarters, I think, is actually on a corner intersection of a highway. It's like by an overpass.
So there you have it.
There you go, folks. And not only should you use our traditional caching in the Northwest contact methodologies that were just shared with you, again, if you contact any of us amazing hosts of Caching in the Northwest on our various social media channels, we would be happy to hear from you and bring that content back to the show. But definitely let us know what you guys want to hear us talk about. We
Yeah.
want to answer your questions and hear your thoughts.
Right. As I said earlier on Geo Gearheads in the patron content, we can hear our voices all day long. We could sit in a car and talk to ourselves as we're commuting. But that's not the whole point here. The point is we're doing this for you. We want to hear from you. We want this to be a dialogue, not a monologue.
Exactly.
So,
I talk to myself all day. I need somebody else to talk to.
exactly.
Awesome.
So there you have it.
We're tired and we're going to bed.
Good night, folks. Thanks for listening, watching, whatever you're doing. Thanks for it.
Thank you.
Good night.
Night, folks.